Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel CM Edit Logic. So today we will be going to discuss a newly added chapter in GST, which is TDS and TCS. Very simple chapter because this chapter nearly has a weightage of 3 to 4 marks. Okay, and if you are learning it right now in the intermediate itself, you don't need to learn it again in your CA final. So let's start today's discussion. Section number 51 deals with TDS, okay, and section number 52 deals with TCS, okay, and the TDS percentage is 2%. They have to deduct. Who has to deduct? The recipient has to deduct. He is known as the deductor, and the supplier is known as the deductee. Okay, supplier can be the any person, but recipient has to be the only the specified person has to be the recipient. Okay, so let's start with there is basic two condition you have to remember it. One is the supply has to be greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. Another is the recipient has to be the specified recipient. Okay, so who and all the specified recipient, we will discuss it later on. First, let us try to understand with an example so that you will get lot of clarity. Okay, so here comes, there is one person who is the supplier. Here comes the central government, state government and local authority. So central government wants to construct a house property building property for poor people. Okay, so this building has he has given a contract, the government has given a contract, and the government will going to make a payment of rupees 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so they have this person has issued an invoice, 3 invoices he has issued it. So invoice number 1 is 2.5 lakh rupees, invoice number 2 is 1.5 lakh rupees, and invoice number 3 is 50,000. Okay, so we have to understand now that since it is a central government, state government, local authority, he has to deduct the TDS. Okay, so how much percentage he has to deduct? We have already said it, 2% he has to deduct under section number 51. Okay, and who has to deposit? We're going to see that the recipient only going to deposit, that is central government only has to deduct, and they will going to file the return and they will going to deposit it. At later point of time, this person can take the credit. Okay, like how it has been done in the income tax, the same way it can be done in the GST as well. Okay, later point of time, while calculating the total GST payable, he can deduct the GST, how much ever he has paid for the TDS, and net amount he can pay it to the government. Okay, so that is how it has been framed. Okay, so now comes the question is on what value he has to deduct. On 5 lakh he has to deduct, or on the 2.5 lakh he has to deduct, that is invoice wise he has to deduct, or on the total payment contract value he has to deduct. So here the law says that he has to deduct. Okay, you just read it over here. I have written a note. Invoice value doesn't matter, only the contract value where it exceeds more than 2.5 lakh rupees excluding the GST and cess. On that amount only TDS will be going to be deducted. Okay, so the invoice value doesn't matter. Even if you raise invoice of 10,000 of 25 invoices you are going to raise to that government, it doesn't matter. Only the contract value, which is in our example 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so this 5 lakh rupees is going to matter a lot. Okay, invoice value, it is not going to matter. Okay, don't consider. Okay, and only this, on this 5 lakh rupees, 2% he has to deduct. Who has to deduct? The central government, state government and local authority has to deduct the TDS before making the payment to this person who is the supplier. Okay, basically there are two conditions. One is the supply has to exceed greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. Please focus on the wording. It is greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. So if it is less than or equal to 2.5 lakh rupees, then TDS has not to be deducted. Remember this very important point. Okay, then comes here in this case, take an example. This supplier is making a sale of 3 lakh rupees. On that 3 lakh rupees, 2% if you're going to do 6,000 rupees, it is not 60,000, just remove 1 0. So 2,94,000 the recipient will going to make a payment to the supplier. Okay, and that 6,000 he will going to deposit to the government. Okay, it will going to get deposit to the government. Okay, so deposit 6,000 rupees in the GST portal. the recipient has to take the compulsory registration, okay, and he has to deduct 2% on the value of supply. Remember, this value of supply we have learnt in section number 15, transaction value. How you can determine the transaction value, what are all things you need to add, what are all things you need to deduct it. Okay, so here the recipient, who is the recipient? Okay, so both the condition it has to fulfill, then only the recipient will going to deduct the TDS. Okay, the condition number 1 is it has to be greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. Okay, remember it has to be greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. If it is less than or equal to, then no need to deduct any TDS amount. Okay, then the recipient has to be the these following person has to be the recipient. Okay, one is the central government, another is the state government department, establishment, except the Ministry of Defense. Okay, if anything deals, okay, if a supplier is selling any sort of equipment, defense equipment to a defense department of the government, then there is no requirement of TDS deduction. Okay, then it comes the local authority, then comes the government agency, then comes the PSU, society established by central government, state government, and where and we have already seen in our Companies Act that 51% equity holding should be there with the government. Okay, then only it will be called as a government company. Okay, so invoice value doesn't matter, only that contract value, it has to exceed greater than 2.5 lakh rupees, excluding GST and cess. Okay, so 1% is the CGST, another 1% is the SGST, and 2% on IGST. Okay, and it has to be credited to supplier. While making payment, you can deduct it, or while crediting the amount to the supplier in the books of accounts, you can make the entry. Okay, whichever is earlier, you have to focus. Okay, so we have learned the same way in income tax also. There is one threshold limit, there is section number, and how much you have to deduct the TDS. Okay, on what value you have to deduct, at what point of time you have to deduct. Everything is being covered similarly in GST as well. Here comes 2.5 lakh rupees. This is the threshold limit, greater than 2.5 lakh rupees. Then how much percentage you have to deduct. Okay, at what point of time you have to deduct. Okay, while making the payment or crediting to the supplier, whichever is earlier. Okay, so all the 3 points has been covered. Both the condition, remember it, both the condition has to be fulfilled. If any of the one condition it is not fulfilling it, then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, the TDS in what all following cases there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. One is supply of exempt goods and service. Okay, supply of taxable goods and service. Okay, first it has to be taxable goods and service. You can write 3 conditions, you have to fulfill it. Okay, so this is the condition number 3. Okay, so one is the supply has to be greater than 2.5 lakh rupees, and who and all the recipient. This is the second scenario. And condition number 3 is it has to be taxable goods and service. If it is dealing with exempt goods and service, then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, so here supply of exempt goods. Okay, which is nothing but zero rated supply, nil rated supply, nil rated supply, exempt supply, and non-taxable supply. There is no requirement to deduct the TDS if the supplier is dealing with such sort of goods. Okay, and supply under any payment. Okay, for example, government is making payment to a unregistered supplier. Focus on the word unregistered supplier. Then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. It is very logically speaking. You just imagine, if he is an unregistered supplier, then he will not be having the e-cash ledger or e-credit ledger, nothing. He won't be having any sort of ledgers. Okay, so he cannot take the credit of that particular amount, whatever TDS has been deducted. So that's why the government has excluded wherever that if they are making payment to the unregistered supplier, focus on the word unregistered supplier, then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, then comes the supplier. Supplier place and place of supply is in same state, but recipient place in another state. Let us understand this, very important. Question answer can be framed related to this point. Okay, so first let us before watching this particular point, you should have a background related to place of supply, then only you can able to understand in a better way. Okay, so what is meant by place of supply is, one is location of supplier and place of supply is in same state, then CGST and SGST will going to be charged. What is the importance of a place of supply? Let us understand it. Okay, so place of supply will going to say that you need to charge CGST or SGST, or you need to charge IGST. Okay, that is what the place of supply deals with. Okay, that particular chapter deals with. If the location of supplier and the place of supply is in same state, then CGST, SGST will going to charge. If the location of supplier and place of supply is in different state, for example, location of supplier is in Maharashtra and place of supply is done in Delhi, okay, then IGST will going to get charged. Okay, it is very simple. We can understand with an example. Here we have given a beautiful example. For example, the supplier is in Maharashtra and place of supply you take it as in Maharashtra, and another you can take it as in Karnataka. Okay, so if the location of supplier and the place of supply is in same state, then you need to charge CGST and SGST, that is intrastate supply, and you need to charge CGST and SGST, and you can deduct. And one more condition is there, but recipient is in different state, then you don't need to require to deduct any TDS. Okay, if the recipient is in same state of the place of supply, okay, then TDS has to be deducted. If the recipient is in different state of the place of supply, then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, so be caution. Okay, supplier is not that much important. Okay, you need to only focus on two words. One is the place of supply and the recipient. Okay, so place of supply and recipient is in same state, then you need to deduct the TDS. Intrastate supply it is. So intrastate supply is determined by supplier, location of supplier and place of supply. Okay, it is not determined on the basis of recipient. Be careful about it. Okay, I have written over here also, location of supplier and place of supply is in same state, then CGST, SGST, that is intrastate supply it will be. Okay, if the location of supplier and place of supply is in different state, then IGST will going to get charged. Okay, so here comes another beautiful example. If the supplier is in Maharashtra, take for an example, supplier is located in Maharashtra, he is doing business in Maharashtra and place of supply is in Karnataka, then whether you need to deduct TDS or not, you have to deduct the TDS will be deducted and it will be called as intrastate supply. Since the supplier, location of supplier and place of supply is in different state, it is an interstate supply and IGST will going to get charged. Okay, so this is the crux of place of supply, I would say. This is the crux of place of supply chapter. If you understand this particular 2 points, then this point is nothing. Okay, so when we don't need to deduct TDS, read the line carefully. Now read the line carefully. One is the supplier and place of supply is in same state, but recipient is in other state. Okay, then at that point of time you don't need to deduct TDS. Okay, so we have given over here example Maharashtra, and the recipient place of supply is also in Maharashtra. Okay, so supplier and place of supply is in same state. Okay, Maharashtra place of supply, but recipient is in other state. Okay, so recipient is in Tamil Nadu. At that point of time there is no requirement of deducting the TDS. Okay, so this is the how we have completed it, and now comes the very simple part, which is the procedural part. Either they can give it in the form of MCQ, but question answer is not expected from the procedure part. Okay, up to when you need to what is the time limit up to when you need to deposit the amount? The time limit to deposit is 10th of the next month. Okay, so GSTR 7 central government have to file. Okay, the recipient who has to be the central government has to file it. Okay, and they have to deposit it to the central government. Okay, so there will be, you will be thinking like central government itself is deducting and central government itself is depositing. Yes, you heard it right. This is the some unusual thing you will be feeling, that they are just taking it out from the upper pocket and they are just inserting in their lower pocket. Okay, so this is what this chapter deals with. Okay, So we can't go with the logics. Okay, then comes a TDS certificate. TDS certificate, they have to give it to the supplier. Recipient have to give TDS certificate to the supplier. Okay, so in our case, who has to give? This person have to give TDS certificate in GSTR 7A, okay, to the supplier within 5 days of deposit. Okay, within 5 days they have to give it to the supplier. Okay, who is the deductee, okay, and recipient is the deductor. Then comes TDS deducted reflected in e-cash ledger of deductee. As we have already written over here, it will going to get reflected in the supplier e-cash. Okay, so if you are making payment to unregistered supplier, then there is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, so unregistered person don't have those e-cash ledger, e-credit ledger. They don't need to maintain such things. Only a registered person have all those procedures. Okay, they need to maintain e-cash ledger, e-credit ledger for making the payment of liability. Okay, since he don't need to make any payment of liability, so that's why they have exempted from deducting the TDS itself while making payment to unregistered supplier. Okay, that is the logic I have given it earlier. So interest on delay deposit of TDS 18%. Here they can give in the form of a question. They'll ask you to calculate the interest. Okay, so be prepared for that. Okay, and recovery proceeding can be initiated under section number 73 and 74. 73 and 74 you don't have in the syllabus as of now for the intermediate. This is a chapter and this is a portion for CA final. While coming CA final, you will be understanding what does meant by what the contents comes in section number 73 and 74. Okay, you just need to remember 18% here. Okay, then comes a late fee of TDS return. Okay, if you are filing late fee or fail to issue TDS certificate. Okay, if you are filing late, or else you are not failure to issue certificate. Okay, under both scenario, you need to pay 100 rupees. Okay, per day, and the maximum will be the 500. Okay, this much you have to pay it. Okay, and the deductor or deductee can claim the refund of the excess or the erroneous deduction. Okay, so excess or erroneous deduction can be claimed as a refund. Okay, we will going to learn much more in CA final. This point is also not that much important. And one more example we have given over here related to this. Okay, you can I can just discuss it over here. If the location of supplier, we have already seen it over here. Do focus on the word. The supplier and place of supply is in same state, but recipient is in different state, then there is no requirement of deducting the TDS. Let us see this table and you will further understand it in a much better way. So the location of supplier, place of supply, and let us take this example. This location of supplier, okay, and the place of supply is in same state, but the location of recipient is in different state. There is no requirement to deduct the TDS. Okay, you can see it over here. So whether TDS deducted is needed? No. Okay, so TDS doesn't require. Whereas in case of location of supplier is in same state, location of place of supply is also in same state, and location of recipient is also in same state, then there is a requirement to deduct the TDS. Location of supplier and location of recipient. Okay, location of supplier, place of supply, and location of recipient, okay, are in 3 different states, then also you need to deduct the TDS. Okay, so this example will going to clarify all your points. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video, and you can get out these notes from our Telegram channel. The link will be given in the description box. You can check it out. Okay, so we have also uploaded one chapter related to accounts and records. You can check it out, that chapter also. The link I'll just post it out in the description box so that it will become easy for you. Thank you so much. If you have understand it, do like and subscribe